Welcome to NGN. I'm Julian. I'm here with Seth from Butterscotch Butterscotch Shenanigans, which is one of my favorite names of any dev I've met, if I can say it properly. We're going to talk about your new game, Crashlands.
Yeah.
So this is an action RPG with some interesting kind of elements that I want to dive into, but why don't you tell me about your own game?
We just kind of took an amalgam of all of our favorite stuff from the games we grew up with, and we just kind of jammed them all together. So it's crafting, it has base building, it has RPG elements, characters, stories, it has creature taming, crazy boss fights, this huge epic story arc. So we just we crammed it all together, and then we tried to make some big improvements on stuff like, there's no inventory management. There's just an infinite inventory. You can pick up everything you want, all that kind of stuff.
It's also interesting to me that you kind of have this RPG element, and you kind of don't. It's not your character yourself that levels up, right? It's the gear that you collect throughout the game. And part of that makes it important is crafting, right? To me, though, so many games do crafting now that I feel like it's difficult to implement in a way that's still fun, that it doesn't get tedious. So what's your solution to handle that organically?
Yeah, so our solution was to give players a better sense of purpose by attaching these, intricate story elements to everything, right? Because crafting, we like to think of it as an advanced merchant system, right? So in a lot of RPGs, you'll have gold or something. You go to the merchant, you give them your gold, you get a piece of armor, right? Really, that's a crafting system with one ingredient, which is gold, that crafts everything, right?
That's an interesting take on it.
So in a crafting system, you really just have tons and tons of different types of currency. You got logs, you got grass, you got rocks, whatever. So a crafting system, by its nature, actually doesn't have a lot of super interesting things going on, because really it's just an exchange of items, right?
Yeah.
So the fun comes from having a reason behind building that thing, having that thing have a sense of importance, and also just sort of like attaching this sense of adventure and rarity to things, going out and finding that one really special item that's out there in the world that you want to build, having some legendary things, and it really just comes down to storytelling, I think.
So how do you make a game entertaining through the story, too?
We treated the dialogue as a game mechanic, which was the mechanism by which you learn what to do, right? We just record the dialogue in your little chat log thing, and you then, if you're not sure what to do, you can go back and recall the conversation.
Wait, are you saying you actually have to pay attention to other people when they speak to you?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay, because I wasn't listening.
Yeah,
so
it's a revelation
sure
just in life and games and everything, and something we're really trying to push toward. And it's interesting to see players who come into it with the the typical attitude of I'm not here to read, I'm here to game, and they're actually they may be a little agitated that we're making them read stuff, but then they start to actually get into the story, and they care about the characters, and then they actually really enjoy it, and it allows us to craft a memorable story experience over time because they paid attention.
Sounds like you guys at Butterscotch Shenanigans have an interesting philosophy on just kind of the RPG world and how to make a good game, and it sounds like something that's worth checking out.
Thank you.
Seth, thank you very much for talking to us today. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you guys for tuning in to NGN. Can we just say shenanigans until they cut?
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans.